All right, this is my second try. Uh, that's not quite true. This is my fourth try at making a video. One of them, I just kept stopping it and starting it. I meant to stop it and I started it. The next one, I just kept getting yelled at, or I yelled back. I'm sure it's all my fault. So, let me tell you about the videos. I waste a lot of time on these videos. I get told, oh, you should charge for the videos. I'm never going to charge for the videos. That would be ridiculous. They suck half the time. What I'm going to do is occasionally advertise. Next year, I have all this open time, and I would love to teach some classes in some wonderful places to nice people. And if you watch these videos, I don't think you can get the same sense of the whole thing. It was fantastic for those people who do it, but you don't get the same sense of the economics and the real overview and the structure and everything else as you do in a class. So there's my advertisement. Now, what we're going to do, this is here is the issue. This is a issue about rolling up things in a model. I'm going to make this a little smaller, perhaps. Oh, fuck. Okay, it seems to be a long introduction today. You missed a lot of good swearing just now when I thought I lost the whole model. Now, what we're going to do is, if you work for a large company, this model is a merchant plant model. The primary objective of this model is risk analysis and not structuring. We just put some debt in the model. We'll put different levels of debt in the model. But what we want to do is at least get a cash flow waterfall graph here. I want to put a spinner box here, put more or less debt, show what happens to the cash flow. I've got to fix this. And all of these, I'm going to fix this by taking our month-by-month model and making it either into an annual model or a quarterly model. Now, I've already done this. I deleted it, and I'm going to redo it again. So if I sound irritated, or if I sound like I have a cold, please don't be offended in any way. And I'll try to go at a reasonable pace. Okay, now okay, so what we're going to do is use the SUMIF and SUMIFS functions to do this roll-up. What I make this like is, let's go to Google Maps. Okay, what a waste of time to have you go to Google Maps. Google Maps. Okay, where is it going to take me? Google Maps. Fine. Let's see if it takes me. Now, if you do this, I don't know where this is. If we make it really big, we can see great little details. That's like our monthly model. And if we make it really small, we can see where we are. Okay, enough of that. That's, for me, what this monthly roll-up and other ones does. You can see a lot more in the annual and the, excuse me, the quarterly information. Now, what we'd like to do, I'd like to do to show you, is to take all of these titles and just completely replicate this. It's a lot easier to do the whole thing than to just do a little. Now, what happened apparently here is it also copied the thing, and it also copied probably a bunch of the comments. If you want to delete the comments, I just Googled this. Let's see if it worked, or Binged my whatever you call it, whatever verb you use. You can hit F5. We know that from that, and if you go to special and go to comments, it'll go to all the comments, and then you how's this? You right click. Where do I delete the comment? I want to go to this one that says delete comments. Well, delete. No. Okay, I thought, well, okay, I apparently can't do that. Well, that's too bad. Okay, so we'll leave the comments in for now. That was a nice little waste of your time. Okay, being very unstructured. Getting in trouble for being unstructured in my life. Okay, now let's put our timeline up here, and the first thing we're going to start with is let's just get the year, and we're going to get this year, and we're going to compare this year to our very detailed analysis in our monthly model. Okay, and in our monthly model we what do we have? Some of these things in our monthly model, like, let's look at the hours of operation. Here's how many hours we operated. But then when we accumulate the hours, that's, you know, you don't want to add up all these accumulated hours. You just want to take the one at the end of the period. You want to do that for a bunch of these things. And when we take the age of the project, we just want to take the last the kind of age at the last period, and then when we take these hours, we want to accumulate this we don't. So some things we want to accumulate. Now the other thing, you know, what I did something in the last video, we have the year, we just took the year of the date. We'll do it with the year first, and then we have we can just say, well, when this month equals 12. We'll just say December is the last month in the year. Okay, then we get a little switch for the end of the year. We're going to need that because some of the variables, like the age of the project or some things, we just want at the end of the year. We don't want to sum. So we're going to have a little thing that does that. And then for the quarter, you can just take the end of the date for the end of the period and make it end of quarter. Okay? So this is another, we'll do that for the quarterly one. Okay? Now for the annual one, let's put a year in first. Okay, and go up to the monthly model. It doesn't matter which one we take. We'll take 2016. Now, if you want to go forward, you could press the F8 and then go forward. But look at this. It's so interesting. Why it doesn't? This is just amazing to you, isn't it? It doesn't tell you the column. And if you well, let's put this +1. That's really what we want to do. So if we press F8 and then go forward, it doesn't work. But if we press Shift and forward arrow, it's telling us the column. And let's go out 40 periods, and then it says it down here. Somebody needs to explain to me why that happens, but I'm sure somebody will, but whatever. So that's a nicer way to copy it forward. That was Control R. And then we don't need the month and the end of the quarter and all that stuff. But we'll get all the rest of this stuff. We're going to leave the titles exactly the same. That's going to be much, much easier. And when we leave the titles exactly the same, we can delete lines really easily. If we don't want some of this stuff, we don't need it. But we can do the whole sheet. Okay? And I suppose we could almost make a macro that says, if you hit a blank line and delete the whole row. I'm not going to make that macro. I should have had it somewhere. In other words, if it's blank for D, E, and F, yeah, let's try that. Then just go forward and delete the whole row. We'll make a macro like that, but I won't waste a lot of time with it. Okay, now let's do this one. If we let's start here with hours. If we put SUMIF, not SUMIF this time, let's put SUMIFS. It says to start with the sum range. So you go to the monthly model and you find the hours in the period, and you remember this laziness And simplicity is key. It says, okay, first give me the sum range, and then it says somewhere it says the criteria 1 range, and for the criteria 1 range, click on the year and then press F4, and then it says criteria, and go to the annual thing and press the F4 key until you're finished. And people are talking in the background, so okay. Sorry about that interruption again. Now if I press Shift Control R, it just looks up. I think I have to work a little on the Shift Control R, and I have to get it to undo. I don't know how to do it.
He just took my card.
Oh, shit.
He took my card.
Okay, I'm keeping going this time. You get to hear a background. Now, if we do the age in years, that's a different one, because we'll put SUMIFS, and this time we do exactly the same one, but we have, so the sum range is just the prior one. Now, of course, but if you don't, if we're clicking on the 21 and no F4s, then there's not a big problem. And then the second one, this time, we click on the year again. We want a sum for the year because I want to get the end of every single year, F4. And then, as we did before, we go to the annual one and press the F4 two times. But this time we want a second criteria because we want to take the end, and then we'd also like to take the one that says end of year. And don't forget to press the F4 on this one. And we only want to get that one when it's true. And we don't have to go back and forth or anything else. And then we have this one. And if we press Shift Control R, we have this. Now, here's what we could do. Every single one of the accounts is either going to be, it might be an end of year account, or it might be a accumulating account, or like a balance sheet account. This is like a balance sheet account. This is like an income statement account. And what we would like to do is put just a little bit of a true or false. I would like to come up with an automatic way to do this. You know, maybe I have no idea how to. You could maybe when you write it, but you're going to have to manually put it in at some point. Okay. Now, what you could do in this one is go to the beginning and just say if it's true and press the F4 key 3 times, then we'll get this one. Of course, so far we've done nothing. Now, but if it's false, and let's make sure. Now this is fascinating to me. I hope I remember pressing the F4 key here and pressing the F4 key here. I don't know. When you go to a different sheet, why did it not remember this? Okay. We maybe could call this a bug in Excel, but I'm pretty sure I pressed that F4. I was pretty careful with that because I made a mistake the last time. So if I would have started swearing again, it would certainly not be my fault. Okay, so now we've got it working, and now all we have to do is take away all of this stuff. Just we want to include the F9 and the annual H3, and we just put another thing. Okay, Shift Control R. Now if you let's see if this works. Shift down, Control D, and now it works. If we would press true here, it would just give us the hours in December. If we press false, we get the total hours in the year. So now let's try the capacity factor. We have to decide which one it is. If you would like, you could go to data and then go to data validation and click on the data validation. Instead of any value, you make it a list of values and you put true and false. Okay, and then you copy this and then you paste it. Now that worked. If we put false, it would have added them all up. Okay, and then we can press Shift Control P. Okay, and so now we put this on. I think our forced and scheduled outages, they are in. You know what we should have perhaps done? Should have put the units on all these, shouldn't I have? Well, I'll do that on the quarterly analysis. Okay, we'll do that there. Because I think these were in hours. And that means they did accumulate. So now we can, why don't we just do this and copy this now that we have our system down. So, whoops. Oh. Okay, copy it here. And let's just, oh, come on. How does this work? If you Shift F4, that didn't work. I tried Shift F4. Well, you know. Okay, I'll put it down here. And now we have this, and we can press Control. Ah, shit. Okay. And we can go. Let's take
What?
this. Keep going down.
What?
Keep going down, and then we're not quite finished. I'm having trouble with just this damn shading. I'm gonna stop the video. Okay, I'm obviously having a few problems. Okay, I made a macro here, and on this macro, the first thing I did was make a test range. So I tried to, in the macros, one of the nicest things is using cells together with a for next loop. This for row equal 5, row could be anything, but it's convenient to use the word row. That for row equals 5 to 1000 will go from row 5 to 1000. And then it will say for each row, let's take column number 1. This is kind of like the index. Just give me the cells in row 5, comma 1, 6. So I'm adding them all together. And if it's blank, that means we want to clear the rest of it because we don't have a title. And to do that, you say, okay, what's the starting point of the clear? Let's say column 6, and you make a range name that says, take the start range, put a little thing, and get the close range. And now let's see if it works. Let's see. Okay, so we can click on any cell really in the sheet, and we press clear rows. And before I do this is very dangerous. If you do something like this, I think it's a very good idea to save it, especially if you're doing things like clearing. Anytime it's good to save it. Okay, and run. And of course, it didn't work, but it kind of worked just a little bit. So it's extremely good that we saved it, isn't it? And we said, I'm sitting outside and a dog just came in. That's very nice. And now it's going all the way to the end. So let's stop this and try this again. So I pause the video. Okay, I fixed the macro It wasn't that bad to fix. What I did, and you notice how I make so many damn mistakes. One day, by the time I die, I'll get better at this. You know, we should have, when we, I don't know why it didn't work, but we should have, if we use the string comparison and say test equals string comparison, and then make the test equal 0, works. I have no idea why this didn't work, and then 1,000 lines was too much. So let's put to input box and put number of rows. Okay, so now we've got a little more flexibility on this. Excuse me. Okay, and you know, I'm gonna just format a couple of these things. Not too many. You don't have to watch me formatting. I think. You know, I should have put this in the macros, and then the recovery factor. You know, that might be a percent. Sorry about the size. You know, I'm just. And then maybe all of this stuff we put with Shift Control 1. Enough of this. So that's how you can do this. Now all we have to do is, how about the first thing? I hope this doesn't, I should have, when you know there's a bug in Excel too, sometimes when you change the size it just completely screws things up. So I just saved it. Okay. How about this? And let's use a Alt WFF. Okay, that's, and hours of operation. Actually, we didn't want this one either, but hours of operation was a that's not an end of year. This is true. Remaining hours is true, because that's a maintenance switch. Okay, I don't know what, that's a date, I think, but whatever. And then, okay, this one's a nothing. So, okay, you know, you get the point. Capacity after degradation. Heat rate is a, why didn't heat rate? I don't know why the heat rate didn't work. Okay, and the degradation percentage should have been a heat rate recovery factor. Maybe this should have been true. No. No, let's look at this. So this should have been SUMIFS 47. We look at 47. Okay. And this was 46. Something happened. When I deleted a line, did I delete a line? Oh no. Crap. Okay, I'm gonna pause this. You get the idea. It should have all worked. Okay, I just redid it. I don't know what I copied wrong, but it seems to be working now. So if something like this, it looks bad, and we put true, and it's kind of cool. It just changes degradation percentage. Well, let's press Shift Control P, and heat rate recovery, or Shift Control P. And we just go one by one. Perhaps generation. We better put a false. And then the fuel use, that's not an end of the year account. Total cost is end of the year. S curve is true. Let's just do that at the end of the period. False. Oops, excuse me. Development cost was false. Here's our construction. Revenues are all kind of false. And we could see, now we can kind of see what our contract revenues are, and this is our merchant revenues. Okay, you see it so much better. It's just like that Google Maps. When you do it too detailed, you don't see anything, you know. And we can kind of see all these graphs. You know, you can then use this index approach to make graphs of all this stuff. And then we have our ancillary services, and we have total merchant revenues. Now, okay, so we can kind of see, well, what's our merchant revenues and how much of that is capacity revenues. This is a hell of a lot for capacity revenues in this scenario. We can see how much is contract revenues after, and then what happens after the contract becomes the total. So you can see enough of this. Okay, I'm just putting a regular little underline, and then we can do the same for the and all of the, you know, those kind of accounts will be the same. But on the O&M, the fixed O&M, oh, that's okay. We can add the monthly, and this is all okay. Net generation, all the operating expenses, it's the same kind of thing. Okay, and then we get our EBITDA. And why? Well, we have an increasing EBITDA a lot. We'd have to explain that. And if you wanted to get the IRR, we of course could put, you know, and just shade the whole thing. And, you know, I guess if nothing else, you have a check on the IRR. You don't need the XIR. It's totally okay to delete things, but I'm a little bit afraid. Now, whenever we have a beginning balance and a closing balance, we better just put true. Okay? And whenever it's accumulated depreciation, you put true. And then you can go to these. So again, we have true and true. Okay, so you can see the roll-up process for annual. And I'm going to stop here. That's simple enough. And you can see the importance of having a little if statement and all of that. Okay, I'm just about to the end. I didn't do this perfectly, but you know, you can do all the balance sheets accounts to be true here. And I went through a lot of the true falses, and now we have really I think you can call this rolled up. I guess, you know, we didn't do the capacity before degradation. We should have done that. Let's make sure that works. And that's true here, I think. Is that right? Yep, there we go. Now, good news is that when we do this whole thing quarterly, we have the little true-false switches again. And let's just see what we'll do to make the roll-up work on a quarterly basis. We have the end of the quarter. Now, here, this is done with a function that a user-defined function. So it goes, if you're in April, it goes to June, and then in July, and it looks up to the beginning of the month and says, okay, let's figure out what month we're in, and for that month, figure out the end of the quarter. And it's really not a very complicated function, and it's on the website. And I think I just copied it in. When you have a function, you can't read it from an open file like you can in a macro. But here's the function. You read in the date. If it's 1, 4, or 7, then you take the current date and the end of the month plus 2 months, 1 month, or 0 months. So you just redo it. Pretty easy function. Maybe I have another video, I hope, on this end of quarter function. Now, once you have that, let's take this time everything including our true false and put it here. We have our same problem, but remember, I couldn't quite figure out how to get, and we can put EOQ. And then we just take end of quarter. Now the only problem is going to be I think I can, can't we just copy the formatting as well? So we've got a macro to delete the blank rows, and we've got everything. So let's start the end of the quarter function with the first end of the quarter here. And then all we have to do is put EO month to get to the next one. You go back to that one and you put 3. Shift Control 3. And this time, remember, we'll go, we went 40 years, so 40 times 4 times, I think there are 4 quarters, 1,600. So, is that right? 44 times, no, 160, I think that's all right. Okay, and now when you have this, please don't do this. Please. You got to shade the whole thing, control space bar, and make one bigger, because when you have a flexible model, these dates are going to change. So select the whole thing and change it. Enough of that. And now we could almost copy the function, but I think it'll be good practice to do it. We'll put if this is true, and press the F4 key till we get this one. We'll see if we lose it. SUMIFS. Then we're going to first look at the sum range, and this was why we needed the end of quarter. We need that one, and then you press F4, and then whoops, and I of course did that wrong, because the first thing it wants is this one, and then it wants the criteria range, and then we put this one and press F4. And now watch. Remember, I did it, and then we'll go back to the quarterly thing, and it's still F4. Maybe I didn't do it best. I can't believe I didn't do that. And then, so if it's true, then we also have to go into another criteria range, and the second criteria range will be the end of the quarter, and then press F4, and then put true, and then press enter. We'll just leave it like that. And look at this. It did it again to me. It took this one away. That horrible thing. What kind of program is Excel anyway? What a disgusting bug that is. Never noticed that one before. I was probably thinking I'm an idiot. I am an idiot, but when it doesn't have to make me feel even worse about myself. And then we on this one we go backwards. We don't want this one and this one, so we just take this criteria away from when it's false. And then we can press the nifty little Shift Control R, and let's make sure we have enough things over here. There, it seems that we have. Okay, and now we're going to I'm going to try this. Just select it down all the way. Okay, it's going a little bit slowly. Okay. All right. Okay, we're there, finally. Control D. Now, I thought I can, oops, I pressed Control. I thought I could press Control Enter and go to the top of the, how'd you enter? Oh, I guess you just press Enter. And then let's just So I'm struggling with this, aren't I? Then we can just redo the formula. That doesn't control shift control right arrow and control R. Shift control right arrow control R. Did I do control R? Oh, that gave me that little horrible thing there. So let's just look at a couple of these. Here's the capacity factor at the end of the month. Here's how many hours of operation. Is that all the hours we had? I get. Okay. And how many hours did we have in the period? This is really bad. This hours in period should have accumulated across the quarter. Oh shit. Okay, so and then I didn't. So let me pause this for a minute. Again. Okay, this is just so embarrassing. 8 was the end of the quarter. 7 was the end of the period. Horrible. But I guess the good news is we were able to check it. Shift Control R, and then let's do the same thing. I think this time it'll be easier. Shift Control down arrow, then Control D. And why don't we? Oh, come on. Ah, shit. Great. You know, Shift Control right arrow, Control R. Oh, maybe this time it worked. Okay. Excuse me for the delay there. Okay. And here we have it. So they now the hours in the period look more reasonable. And you know what I'm going to do is let's take this whole thing, okay, and okay, I'm going all the way down. Come on, just about there. Maybe we could have just taken the whole column. That would have been better, wouldn't it have been? And then let's press Alt ES and just do the formats T. Okay, there we have that. And now we can press Shift Control R again. It's going to take a second, and then we'll try our macro. And it's interesting how long this is taking, so I don't quite feel as bad that our macro is taking a long time. And when we run the macro, that's going to be the so we just have to get rid of the zeros, and then we'll really have our quarterly analysis done. And I'm going to call this finished. I'm gonna stop, finish the model, and then and thankfully the video. So we just run this clear rows and 380, and then I'm gonna say goodbye to you.